monster and she-monster
you
of
get
the
them
trees,
out.
which is what the
Your
guy
team
just
wins
told us about.
invincibility and
Doesn't it seem
nobody
cheap
goes home.
that right after he tells us about a
Just so you
certain
know,
monster, they
I
appear?
told him
It
some
doesn't build up
cockamamie
any
story
mystery.
about a security
Remember the
guard
first
who died
Zelda
on
game?
set.
You knew that you had to fight Ganon. The instruction manual talked about him. Characters in the game talked about him. But at the time, nobody knew what Ganon looked like. It created all the suspense. But imagine if they never talked about him until right before you walked into that room.
Thank you, my
It's like, oh,
lovely
there's this
assistant.
monster you gotta fight.
Now
Oh,
the
there's the monster.
magnificent
Fight him.
Harold is
Then you come
ready
to the
to scare
swamp where you have to hop
our
on lily
opponents
pads.
into
But there's
submission
barely
with the
enough space to
Phantasm
jump
Ball.
from one pad to
Can't
the
believe
next.
we're putting
If
our
you
team's
miss,
fate
you
in
have
the
to
hands
fight a
of the great
merman
Dorgo.
underwater.
You
You
will
can't
quit,
swim
Dorgo,
back up. The only way to get
before
out
all
is to
I've
beat the
learned
merman.
that
But there's
magic
no
Steve's
real
magic
strategy. You
can.
just keep attacking him and praying not to get hit. When you die, you'd expect to start right back at the swamp. But no, it starts you off with the merman. Yeah, you don't get a second chance on the lily pads. You have to fight the merman over and over until either you beat him or run out of lives. And you only get a few continues. The only way to pick up where you left off is to enter a password. And then you still have to play the whole stage all over again. Finally, you make it back to the swamp. This time, I'm just going to try to inch my way to the edge of that lily pad. Oh, fuck! It goes away! Wow, you're really smushed between a bag of piss and a pile of shit. If you jump right away, you don't make it. If you take your time and carefully plan your jump, then the lily pad sinks. And once you fall down, you might as well hit reset, because the whole game's over. Look, I'm standing as close to the fucking edge as possible, and even then it's still not enough to clear the distance. So I give up. I'm putting in a password for the
It
third
was all in the
stage.
name of
Here,
magic.
you get this pretty cool
You have to
graveyard
admit,
scene.
it was
The
quite
tombstones
cool.
attack
Harry,
you.
you
I think they were really running
I'm
out
taking
of ideas
charge
here.
now.
Then I'm going through this castle, and the enemies are too hard to kill, so I find myself running past them just to get ahead. But
Need
that's
more
not the
corn
mark
syrup.
of a good game,
not
is it?
quite
Because
scabby
doesn't it
enough.
mean that you're
I'll
not
give you some.
enjoying the game if all you want to do is bypass everything so you can get the game over as quick as possible?
My brothers and I used
Then
to
you gotta
wait
fight a
outside
floating
kindergarten
red
with this
skull that
group
calls
tripping
itself
off
the
us.
Gatekeeper.
One
What's the
year I
hand's
gave a
name?
dozen
Keymaster?
5-year-old
Then you fight
seizures.
Dark Warrior.
Respect
Ooh,
the leader.
scary name. How about
You
Death
really know
Guy
your way
or
around the
Mr.
kitchen,
Kill?
huh?
Stage 4 is the final stage. Yeah, they chose to keep the game as short as possible,
have
yet
a
as
plan?
annoying as
Maybe.
possible. This
Care to
place
make
is
it
all
interesting?
fucked up. There's all these weird faces in the background. Like, where are you supposed to be? Inside Satan's asshole? Then you start fighting all the classic monsters. First it's the Wolfman, but here he's called the Man-Wolf. After you beat him, you get a new weapon, three-way fire. It's kind of like the spread gun in Contra. But guess what? When you get hit only one time, you lose it, which happens only in a matter of seconds. Then you get smothered by sackless balls. Yeah, floating testicles. Then you fight Dracula. Yeah, Dracula's in this game. His arm looks all cockeyed. Looks like a dick, like his hand is a dickhead.
Anyone else have any
Dickhead.
brilliant
So once
ideas?
again, it's like
Anybody who's
Castlevania, almost
not
as if
Duncan?
Frankenstein and
DJ
Dracula
hasn't
just
said
switched
anything.
places.
And anybody
Then you
that
have to
quiet's
swing
gotta
on
be
vines
thinking
like
something.
Jungle Hunt,
I don't
but you
like
end up just
scaring
jumping
people.
through the vines and
It's not
die.
gentlemanly.
So now,
Well,
just to
Mama
try
ain't here,
again,
is
I gotta
she?
type
And
in the
Papa
fucking password.
Duncan
It's
wants
so
to win
tedious.
and go to
I mean, it's
bed.
not the longest
So?
password I've ever seen, but it's still longer than necessary. But unlike most passwords, if you move the D-pad to the sides, it doesn't move your cursor over to the other side. So say your cursor's on the letter K and you need to move
Excellent
to J.
work, Clips.
In most games,
Foxy
all you
Lady,
need to
you
do is move the cursor
Lady
left
at the ready.
and it will show up on
Remember,
J.
everyone,
But
this is
here,
Chris
you
trying to
can't do
scare
that.
us, and
You have to
Lincoln
move the
doesn't
fucking
give up.
cursor all the
Win
way to
this
the J. A lot of effort considering that J comes right before K. It's so fucked up. And also, if you enter the password and it turns out that it's wrong, like if you messed up on one letter, it erases the whole thing and you gotta type it in all over again. Why can't I just go back and fix the one letter? I really hate this password thing in general, because what's the point? You should have unlimited continues. Yeah, because the only reason you should have to put in a password is if you turn the game off and want to come back to it later. As long as you're still playing, you're going to keep playing the same stages over and over and over again, so what's the point of sending you all the way back to the beginning? The earlier stages are the easiest, and those are the stages you end up playing the most. It's the later stages where you need the most practice. It's all about trial and error. Like imagine if in high school you fail out of senior year. What happens? You do senior year again, right? You don't have to go back and do freshman year again. So bottom line, have unlimited continues. God damn it! Another big piss off about this game is that enemies can kill you even after they're dead. Like you have to wait for them to completely die before you can pass. Anyway, I can't get past the vines, so I'm gonna cheat with Game Genie, the last resort. But check out these codes. almost unlimited energy, invincibility after losing the first life may cause the game to freeze, start with no continues, cannot collect extra energy, and one hit is fatal.
What kind of codes are these? Is there like some sick fuck who thinks the game isn't hard enough? Like somebody who wants to be tortured some more? Well, how about this? I got a code for you. How about a code that just starts you off dead? Yeah, well, I don't want to freeze, so I guess I'm going to go with almost invincibility, whatever that means.
At first, the code works fine, but then I found out that if you collect energy, it takes life away. Not that you would need to collect energy, but it's kind of silly, isn't it? And guess what? Once you get to the vines, you still die. Well, that would have been nice. Why couldn't the code say invincibility except for the vines? Even if you pass the vines, the invincibility goes away, so you're left with your own wits to fight Frankenstein. So, fuck the Game Genie, and let me tell you, when Game Genie doesn't help, you know you're fucked. So you fight Frankenstein. His first form's pretty easy, but then he grows into a giant super Frankenstein.
Can't we just go chef off instead?
Come on! Come on, you fucking Stein!
It's gonna take you back to the past.
Looks like Owen's green train just
Play some
hightailed it
cheating
out of
games, that's
town.
okay.
Now that he's
Right.
surprised, fight back.